Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something that honestly can feel pretty complex. We're talking about building applications in the cloud, specifically on Microsoft Azure, that are reliable, secure, and, well, don't cost a fortune. It's easy to get tangled up in the cloud, right? Unexpected bills, apps going down.
Yeah, exactly. A brilliant idea can hit some serious roadblocks if the cloud foundations aren't solid.
So our mission today is to give you a kind of a guide through that maze. We're unpacking the Azure Well-Architected Framework. Think of it like a blueprint, maybe even a mentor for your cloud projects.
That's a great way to put it. The well-architected framework, it's essentially a set of guidelines from Microsoft. And it's completely free. It's built around 5 core ideas or pillars. And the real value, I think, is helping you sidestep those common pitfalls, like suddenly realizing you've overspent your budget or your app keeps crashing. It's designed to help you avoid that from the start. It's really invaluable, especially if you're just kind of dipping your toes into Azure. It gives you a clear roadmap.
Right. So this is basically how you build those apps that actually work well, stay online when you need them, and crucially, don't break the bank. And there are tools included too, like the Azure Well-Architected Review.
Yes, exactly. That review tool is fantastic for assessing where your project stands against these best practices. It gives you concrete recommendations.
Okay, so let's get into those 5 pillars. You call them a cloud compass. I like that. Each one sounds pretty critical. Where do we start?
Well, often the first hurdle, or maybe the biggest worry for people, is cost. So pillar number 1, cost optimization. This is all about managing your Azure spend effectively, getting the most value. You hear about things like reserved instances.
Right, where you commit long-term for a discount.
Yeah, commit for a year or 3, and you can save up to 72% on workloads that are predictable. That's significant. But the real insight, many people don't forecast well enough to actually use those savings effectively. They leave money on the table. Yeah. It's also about smart scaling, using auto-scaling, so you only pay for the compute power you actually need at any given moment, not paying for idle time.
Okay, being smart with the budget. Got it. But saving money doesn't help much if the app is a nightmare to manage, right? Needs constant attention.
Precisely. That takes us straight to pillar 2, operational excellence. This is about making things run smoothly. Think smooth deployments, easy updates, good monitoring. We're talking about using tools like Azure DevOps to automate your build and release pipelines, and using Azure Monitor to keep an eye on performance and health so you spot issues before they become big problems.
So less firefighting, more proactive management,
Yeah.
building systems that sort of look after themselves more.
Exactly. Building systems that don't require constant babysitting. It's about efficiency in your processes.
Okay. Then there's performance efficiency, making sure the app is fast and can handle demand.
Yep. Your app needs to be responsive, and it needs to scale up or down as traffic changes. Think about an e-commerce site during a Black Friday sale.
Oh yeah, it needs to handle that surge.
Right. So this pillar is about designing for that. Using auto-scaling for your compute resources, but also things like Azure CDN, the Content Delivery Network. That caches your content closer to your users around the world, making things load much faster for them. A slow app, that loses you users, period.
Makes sense. Speed matters. What's next? Pillar 4.
Reliability. This one's fundamental. It's about ensuring your application stays available and can recover quickly if something does go wrong. Designing for high availability is key here. Maybe running your app across multiple Azure regions, so if one has an issue, the other takes over. And using services like Azure Backup religiously. Imagine a critical service like online banking. It has to be reliable.
Yeah, downtime there is just not an option. Reliability builds that user trust.
Absolutely. Trust is the currency here.
Okay, last but definitely not least, security.
Pillar 5, security. Protecting your applications, your data, your users. This is non-negotiable. It involves using things like Azure Active Directory for managing who has access to what, encrypting your data both when it's stored and when it's moving. But a key insight here, often overlooked, is that many cloud breaches aren't sophisticated hacks. They're due to simple misconfigurations. Forgetting to lock a door, basically.
So it's about getting the basics right and checking them constantly.
Exactly. Regularly reviewing who has access, checking configurations, using tools like Microsoft Defender for Cloud to monitor for threats. If you are building, say, a healthcare app, this pillar ensures you're handling patient data safely, meeting standards like IPA. It's critical.
Okay, that's a lot. It sounds incredibly thorough, maybe even a bit daunting if you're just starting out. How does someone realistically begin?
It does sound like a lot, but Microsoft has actually made getting started pretty straightforward. First step, go to azure.microsoft.com. You can sign up for a free Azure account. They usually give you around $200 in credits to use for the first 30 days, plus lots of free services ongoing.
So you can experiment without spending.
Precisely. And I really recommend trying the Azure Well-Architected Review tool online. It asks questions about your project and gives you tailored advice. It's free too. My advice, start small. Maybe deploy a simple web app. Don't try to master all 5 pillars at once. Focus on, say, cost optimization and security first. And check out Microsoft Learn. It has tons of tutorials, step-by-step guides for all this stuff.
That's reassuring. So even if the terms sound complex, fault tolerance, redundant regions, the framework itself is designed to be approachable. And the documentation helps explain the jargon. That free tier for testing sounds incredibly valuable.
Absolutely. It's designed to be a learning tool as much as a set of rules. It really empowers you to build confidence gradually. Think of the framework as that friendly, knowledgeable guide. It helps you build solid cloud apps without needing, decades of experience right away. It's about designing for success.
Designing for success and resilience. I like that. And maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Consider how these core ideas, planning for efficiency, thinking about potential problems up front, securing things properly, maybe they don't just apply to cloud apps. Could they apply to how you structure any project, or even how you approach learning something new in your life, something to think about? Definitely dive in, experiment with Azure, and keep growing those skills.